And I guarantee you, this bright audience knows damn well that steroids were used. This is easy to get. We know this. Now, wait a minute. Here's the question. Did the WWF, or did the environment, or did people in power not only look the other way, but actually condone the loss of jobs, the loss of employment, because of bold, unrestrained aggression of a sexual nature by men in power on younger men who wanted to rise within the system?
Absolutely.
That's the question.
Can I answer that question, Phil?
Sure.
Last night on my radio program, I had two midget wrestlers on, and
We don't see him anymore, do we?
no, we don't. We don't see him
Tell
anymore.
them why.
Last night on my show, a midget wrestler by the name of Karate Kid alleged that in a dressing room, Pat Patterson made some sexual advances towards him. The leader of the midget group, Lord Littlebrook, went to Pat. No, it sounds bizarre, and it is bizarre, but it's sad.
Make the story, please. Running out of time.
Yes, okay. Lord Littlebrook went to Pat Patterson and said, "Leave this kid alone. He's not gay." He scared the little guy, to tears. They were not used, but one time after that sexual advance was denied. They were only used one more time, and the midgets have not been used since then.
Vince McMahon, here is the owner of the World Wrestling Federation, and he's already lost, how many? 2 or 3 executives have resigned. 2 executives and 1 announcer.
One announcer.
Yes, who worked right under him. What did Mr. McMahon know, and when did he know it? And is it unfair to have asked him to give these guys the heave-ho, given the complexity of these charges? Who's got the evidence? Who's going to believe who? Did he fire this and out? This is, if it weren't so painful, it'd be fascinating. We've got the boss saying to the secretary who accuses him of a sexual abuse, "I fired her because she couldn't type." Maybe she couldn't type. What is the truth? We'll be back to explore it further in just a moment. Here are just some scenes from what it is that is mesmerizing millions of Americans, a lot of them young people. These pros in the wrestling game will tell you, a lot of the folks screaming the loudest in the audience are young people, males and females. Dave, you're editor of the Wrestling Observer. Do you see Mr. McMahon coming forward here to open the door, at least, to the possibility here? Are you impressed with what he has said here in the first part of our program?
It surprises me, and I'm glad he said it, because
You're glad he said what?
I'm glad he admitted that there was a possibility, because none of us know for sure. Maybe Barry does, okay, and Murray and Tom, okay. I don't know for sure. It's one person's word against another, and maybe if the executives told Vince that this didn't happen, maybe they were telling the truth, and maybe they're not. I can't tell you.
Meltzer, you were a fucking clown back then, and you're a fucking
story.
clown now.
Polygraph, and I've spent a lot of time discussing it with him, and I think that I'm pretty decent at talking to wrestlers and separating the fact from the fiction, and I believe Barry's story.
I'd like to take the time to
Barry,
interject
please.
here
Sir.
and say that what the big story really was not really the story where I sat between Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin, but shortly thereafter there was another instance. Now remember, I'm 19 years old, and I drove from Amarillo to Albuquerque, New Mexico with a single passenger being Terry Garvin, who about 40 miles outside of town started proposing that he perform oral sex on me while I was driving, begging me to let him do so. And of course, because I was young, I didn't want to lose a position or a shot. And I don't have homophobia. I have no problem with, I'm a First Amendment person. I believe everyone has a right to do whatever they want to do. Right. And I told him as nicely as I could, please don't be offended, but that's not, what I'm into, and nothing personal, and, I'm still your friend, but no thanks. And he did this. Every 40 or 50 miles, he would start again, and it got harder and harder to talk him out of it.
That's horrible, but that happened.
Well, let him finish his point. And your point, Barry,
my point is that Dave Meltzer just said, I have taken a polygraph about all this stuff and came back totally clean. My point is that if he was attracted to young men and younger, because I even heard the stories of the kids underage back then.
His behavior towards you makes you wonder about how he may behave toward others. Is this the point?
Yeah, even
and
now.
you also want to know what? I mean, you can't. You don't want to get the posse and the rope and the tree limb for Vince on this, do you?
No, I don't. I don't want to get the posse and the rope for Vince. However,
But you fucking
this is
should have.
what's going on in the dressing room in the WWF, and I'm talking, under Title VII of the code on the law. It says that any unwelcome sexual advances, touching, or anything else is sexual harassment.
Right.
Now, we have these guys who are bookers and top executives, and believe me, I'm out of here before they are. I know I can't go and complain. I'm sorry. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, and you know that to be true.
They have the power. No matter what you say, you're going to be dismissed.
I'm gone because they are more important than I am.
Yeah, you wanted to say, Bruno, very briefly, with all kinds of folks in this audience who haven't even had a chance. They're coming after me here. I'm going to need you in just a minute.
McMahon said, why didn't they go to the authorities? What you folks don't know is that you don't go to the authorities if you want to eat because you're merely dead. You're finished, kaput, blackballed. His father blackballed me all over the country, not for this, for some other issue.
Well, let's not bring in that.
No, I won't. I'm just talking about that there's no union, there's no protection for the wrestler.
Very
you
good.
Speak up, you're dead.
Vince McMahon, here's the charge. You had to see this. Your agents, right under you on the organization chart, are accused. 2 of them have resigned, including an announcer. Where were you all these years? Was the money so good? Was the glamour so great? Was the business exploding so wonderfully that you didn't have time
Phil, where
to get
was he?
into this kind of thing?
He was
You look the
performing
other way a lot
heinous
of the
acts,
time.
as we
That
found
seems
out
to
here
be
in 2024.
The way this charge is
That's where
evolving
Vince
against
McMahon
you.
I
was.
certainly didn't look the other way. There's no reason for me to look the other way and risk everything that we have going
You
for
didn't
us.
know
What
any of
Barry-
this was going on?
How
Mr.
funny
McMahon?
No, I
how
did
this
not.
has all come
What
to
Barry's
light
making
in
reference to
2024.
is an act some
Fucking
14
liar.
years ago. 14 years ago that happened. How am I supposed? I don't know that happened. This is the first time hearing of it on the show the other day.
Yeah. Do you believe it?
It could very well have happened.
Oh, he admits
In
it.
fact, it did happen.
Sorry
Against
for the
those
commentary, but
individuals
it's my
and the
fucking
allegations that were
channel.
brought against them
Guardian
are
of
no longer with
Chaos.
me.
Here
I
on
don't know
Chaos
what I
Corner.
can do other than to garner as much information as I possibly can to see that if in fact some of this was going on, that it doesn't happen again.
You know, we're always going to have wrestling. The question is, how threatened now is this empire with the accusations of steroid abuse and now a gay sexual harassment? Because if you don't convince, obviously this is, I'm not suggesting, I'm telling you something you already don't know. If you don't fix this, you're not going to be able to give these tickets away.
No question about it.
And we'll be back in a moment.